In 30 days of not spending, I saved $1,874.61 more than I saved in my no spend challenge last year. But the real surprise that came up during this no spend challenge was not about the money. It was discovering that my spending actually came from two distinct emotions. One was my need to please people and make others happy, and the other was the need to connect with my mother, whose love language was gift giving. This only became obvious to me this year because last year in our no spend challenge, I focused only on our main spending account. I totally neglected the account that I use for most of my spending. And it was that account that completely got depleted in 2024 because of a wedding and travels and business purchases and trying to make people happy and trying to connect with my mother. And I wouldn't even realize how bad it was until I did this challenge. So let's see how much money you could be saving if you did a no spend challenge. So here we go. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Carrie Stone, and this is Carrie On, where we talk all things money, movement, and mindset. And today we're talking money because let's face it, money only seems to be getting tighter. But that doesn't change the fact that one day we may still want to retire or travel or spend money on our grandchildren or live comfortably, or you fill in the blank. What is it that you want to be saving money for? So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you my experience on doing a 30-day no spend challenge and how it's making me look at the rest of my year quite differently. We all have different reasons for wanting to do a 30-day challenge, and my reasons are probably not a lot different than yours. But one reason I started making 30-day challenges a tradition in my household is because I really enjoy that process of cutting off the bank after the bank seemed to just be open nonstop 24/7 for the 2 months prior. So it's just kind of nice. Just like, everybody goes on a diet in January to make up for all the food they ate during the holidays. It's kind of like that for your bank account. It's a diet for your bank account, if you will. So I like taking that time to just stop the bank faucet from running and just take some time to get control again of the finances, get some money put back into savings, and just stop that spending habit. Now, last year when we did our no spend month, it was to save money for our daughter's wedding and to take control of our finances that had been out of control. Now this year, it is to replenish our bank accounts after our daughter's wedding. So that was my main focus for this year. We just wanted to recover from the holidays, recover from the wedding, take more control over our money. We're still trying to make up for years of my sickness and the toll that it took on our savings. I also just wanted time to just say no. Say no to spending. Say no to just buying that next thing. Say no to my impulse and my desires to want something else. And it gave me time to just reflect on what really matters, and to cut out the non-essentials and just zero in and focus on saving. Now, if you're going to do a no spend month, you got to have some rules in place. And our rules are pretty much the same every single year. Of course, you're going to pay your necessities. You have to pay your rent, your mortgage, whatever you pay to live where you are. You have to pay your car payment or your credit cards or whatever debt that you're in, and your utilities and all those things. You can't cut those out. But there are some things you can cut out, like groceries, beauty products, clothing, anything like that that is not necessary. If you have something already that you can use, then you don't need to buy it. Now, starting out on a no spend challenge may greet you with some irrational emotions. At first, you may be really excited, then you may get very anxious. It's really hard to tell yourself no. We live in a culture that says you can have whatever you want, whenever you want it. My goodness, now you can just Uber a meal to your house. You can just order whatever you want online. It'll be at your door the next day. There is no denial of self necessary anymore in the world in which we live. So you know what? It's kind of good for 30 days to live in a world where you deny yourself. And it makes you really appreciate what it is that you actually have. Because you know what? We have a lot. And I will say, after months of just spending because of the holidays, it is hard to turn that bank tap off and deny yourself that ability to just be able to spend whenever you want. But you can do it. I've done it. You can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. And while you're going into this process, please remember withdrawal is a very real thing. And I'm not talking about withdrawing money from your account. I'm talking about the feelings of withdrawal that you can feel when you are denying yourself something that you enjoy, especially something that gives you a dopamine hit, the way that purchasing new products does. So expect some withdrawal and have a plan in place so that you can deal with those things. And that's one of the things that really helped me to go through this challenge. I thought to myself ahead of time how I would handle certain things if they came up. And so I had a plan already in place for if somebody said, hey, you want to go out to eat? Or, hey, I need to have this. One of the situations I ran into this month, my daughter started a new Etsy store. And, as a mom, you want to just immediately support your child. But it was in the middle of No Spend January, and I could not do that. And it was also in the middle of decluttering. I didn't want to spend money on something to bring into my house right now. And so I had to use a lot of self-control, but having already prepared my mind and my spirit for doing this challenge, I was ready to handle that. And I did not purchase anything from her store in January. So I'm pretty impressed with myself for that. Now, there were some unexpected upsides that come along with doing a 30-day no-spend challenge. And one of them is the creativity and the resourcefulness that you discover in yourself when you're doing such a challenge. One of the things that I love to do is to use this month to empty out my freezer and my pantry and just utilize the foods that I already have. And it makes me feel really resourceful, and I just love that feeling, and I love the emptiness. Like, I got my refrigerator so empty that it was just easy to clean out. And that was a wonderful, wonderful feeling. Now, did I get a little tired of canned chili the last couple weeks of the challenge? Yep. Yes, I did. But I also was really grateful that my husband had thought ahead last year and bought all this canned chili that I was able to eat. And, it made life a little easier, and I probably will not eat canned chili for a while, but it was there and I found nourishment in it, and I was able to use up what we had and make more room for new food to come in the new year. The next thing I loved was just challenging myself to find new ways of doing old things. I couldn't just order something when I needed it. So I got really creative about, I ran out of hair gel, and I used up a lot of old hair product before I finally did. 1 week before the end of my no spend challenge, I had to order hair product because of the fact that I had used up everything in my house. But I chose to order the cheaper hair product that I use instead of the one that I prefer, so that I wouldn't spend more than I had to spend. But I got really creative about what to use on my hair for a couple weeks there. And I used up product and emptied out my cabinets, and that was a great feeling. And then in January, my husband and I always celebrate the anniversary of the day he proposed to me. And so we wanted to go do something, but we could not spend money because it was a no spend month. Well, for Christmas, I had gotten a Starbucks gift card. So I said, hey, let's walk down to Starbucks and we can use this gift card. And that way we're not spending money, but we're having fun and having a little date. So that's what we did. I used that same Starbucks gift card when I had a business meeting. And so I was able to have that meeting and not spend money out of my business account. So I got creative and used up things that I already had. Another unexpected upside is just building an appreciation for the things that you have in your life. When you're not just out spending to find joy or to fill your time, it helps you to kind of look around your life and realize how blessed you are, how much you have. You know, we have a lot. If you live in the US especially, you have a lot. And our houses are full of stuff we don't use. We have so many clothes. We have so many just things surrounding us. And when you're not out just spending, it gives you time to really contemplate. And what that did for me, really paying attention and noticing all the stuff I have that I'm not using, it made my desire to declutter even greater. So it has made me really look at what I have in my house and realize, first of all, I am blessed. And secondly, I have things sitting here that other people could be using. So it gave me a greater desire to declutter. And it also reminds you of how beautiful and free nature is. So when you're not spending money and you're looking for things to do, you're probably going to go for a walk, go for a hike. It's a great way to just get out into nature and to just realize the blessing of just fresh air. Just getting out and breathing in fresh air, getting some sun on your face, looking at the beauty around you, appreciating all that you have. And also it was a great way to build community, because when you're getting out and you're hiking, you're taking a walk through your neighborhood and appreciating the beauty of nature, you tend to meet other people. Like in the beginning of January, I did my first cold plunge and I got exposed to a whole different group of people that I had never met and learned cold plunge people are pretty darn awesome. And it was just so fun to get out and to meet other people who have an interest similar to yours. And it's just a beautiful thing. It's a great way to grow your wealth that's outside of the bank. Now, are there challenges with a 30-day no spend? Yeah. That's why it's a no spend challenge. There's challenges, absolutely. You have the mental hurdles you have to get over. You have to overcome the urge to spend every single day. You have to navigate social situations with friends and family and be willing to take a stand and say, I would love to go to that dinner, but I'm in the middle of a no spend month. Could we maybe go for a hike instead? And then you just have that constant internal struggle of a want versus a need. Through this time, I was able to identify some bad habits in the making. Particularly the last week of our no spend challenge was a very emotional one in our household. We had, just one thing after another that had happened, losses. Like my husband's uncle died, and then one of his close friends committed suicide. And then I learned that somebody I had loved in my past had gone through a major life challenge. And it was just a really, really emotional week. And on top of that, my husband's back went out. And it was just like one thing after another kept popping up. And I found myself, I just wanted to have a glass of wine and decompress. That same week, I hit one of my YouTube goals and I wanted to celebrate and I wanted to buy myself something to celebrate. And I had to really fight both of those desires, that desire to, have that glass of wine, that desire to buy myself something. But I was able to overcome them by saying, I have made it this far. Why would I blow this now? Why would I go out now to have a glass of wine? For what? Because I can't handle this on my own? I can handle this on my own. So I journaled about it and I cried and I talked to friends about it, and I just was able to work through it without spending money. And I still just celebrated my win by being happy for what I had accomplished. There's nothing wrong with saying no to yourself and controlling your spending. And sometimes it can be challenging, but it helps to grow your character. And I'm really glad that it got hard that last week, because I was able to grow through that and I learned a lot about myself in the process. The next challenge was the temptation for convenience. Let's face it. Sometimes it's just easier to pick up dinner or to order out or to buy something new or to replace something we have to make it easier, And the challenge I had this past month was that right when I started this challenge, Chipotle opened in my town. And for a celiac who eats healthy, Chipotle is like my fast food. It's the place I can go and get something decently healthy and quick, and it's yummy, and I love it, and it's gluten-free. And I was tested by that all month, but I did not do it. And I just kept reminding myself, I am eating to live. I do not live to eat. So that helped me to get through it. And I kept also saying, I have food. I own food. It is in my house. Why would I pay for food when I have food already? And so I actually enjoyed the challenge of seeing how mature I could be as an adult and say no to Chipotle. The other challenge I have is I work part-time in a boutique with pretty things. Pretty clothes and pretty shoes and pretty jewelry and everything. And I have to say, the sale rack was particularly really good last month. And so that made it kind of difficult. The thing that really helped me with that, though, was last year, after my no spend challenge, I put a rule in place when it came to working. And my rule became I could not spend any money at the store when I was working if we didn't hit floor. And if you don't know what floor is, that is the amount of money the store has to make in order to afford to be open. And so I made the rule last year to motivate myself to sell more, but also to control my spending, that I could not spend anything at the store if we didn't hit the floor. That helped me a lot. Having that rule in place has really curbed my spending over the last year. And then at the same time, Mel Robbins released her book, Let Them, and I really want that book. But I just put it in my cart at Amazon, and it's just sitting there and waiting for me. But I did not order it. I just put it there to dwell, and I can think on it and wait for a sale so I can purchase it. My other challenge was that there is a smoothie place in my town that I love, and they sent out a really great coupon for the month of January, and that was so hard to turn away. But I did. I just let it go, and I did not use it, and I was very proud of myself in the end. But in facing all those challenges, there were some unexpected benefits. I had a big shift in my mindset. I got incredibly talented by using ingredients I already have to cook food I already owned. And I got to realize what truly matters. And the savings was a real benefit. But the building up of my self-control muscle, I have to say, was probably the best benefit of all. So let's break down the habits of what you need to do when you're doing a no-spend challenge. First of all, you need to realize that there is going to be a great impact on your spending habits. When you start analyzing how you spend money, you will change not just how you spend money during your challenge, but how you spend money the rest of the year. It will help you to identify your subconscious triggers that make you want to spend. And you will develop a new awareness that you've never had about money. This time also helps you to align with your values. Like, what did you really miss during this time? What did you gain? I missed just meeting my needs as quickly and as easily as I could do it. But I loved challenging myself to find new answers. I gained a greater sense of self-control. I gained a savings of $510 a month just because I changed my health insurance from traditional health insurance to CHM, which, if you're interested in knowing about what I changed to, I will put a link in the description below because I'm pretty excited about it. For me, my health insurance has cost me a lot of money, but it covers nothing that I do. And so that has been a huge frustration. So now I can take that $510 in savings and I can put it into a savings account so that when health issues come up, I'll have a way to help pay them down. So I will put that information in the description below. I gained an increased savings in 3 different savings accounts. I had a month of no alcohol and no eating out, which gave my body and my wallet a break. Not eating out caused me to really think each day about what I was going to be having to eat. So I found myself meal planning like I have never done before. And I found by the end of the month that I really liked it. And I've continued that habit because it has just taken that off of my plate. I don't think so much about food anymore. I just make a decision in the morning based on what's in my refrigerator and freezer. And I've enjoyed that. And I learned I can live without a lot of things. And new isn't always necessarily better. So doing these challenges the last 2 years has really been impacting how I view spending money. And it has made me actually this year decide that I'm going into the rest of 2025 as a low spend year. Now, we've always been a household that believes you live way below your means, but I just want to try to take that to another level. Because of the things I talked about in the beginning of this video, how I learned that I have this deep desire to make people happy and to connect with my mom by buying things for myself. I realized I was losing a lot of money doing those things. So I want to be more conscious about how I'm spending and be very aware of impulse purchases, because those are the things that gets me every time, the impulse purchases. And so that is my goal for 2025, is to really be on top of having a plan for how I'm using my money. And also, as I said earlier, this made me very aware of how much we have in our house. And it made me just want to focus more on the decluttering and being more conscious about what we're bringing into our house. I would like to be more aware about that and not just keep bringing more things in that we have to maintain and find a place for. There is one negative effect to a no-spend challenge, and that is the effect that you have on the small businesses within your community. I started drastically cutting our budget and our spending last year so that we could pay for our daughter's wedding with cash. We got through the year and we did pay cash for the wedding, and that made me start thinking, hey, well, if we could pay cash for the wedding, how much more could we save if we just continued not spending? Well, I guess I'm not the only one thinking like that in our little town, because our small businesses are suffering. One owner recently told me that she hopes that people who aren't out spending money now don't get mad when they go to buy something in their small town and can't find it because the stores have closed. You see, the small businesses in your town are owned by your neighbors. They support your local football team. They sponsor your local shelter. They gather coats and clothing and necessities for the homeless in your community. And yes, their prices have gone up because the vendors' prices and the manufacturers' prices have gone up. Their rent has gone up. Wages have gone up. And they have to pay your neighbors that work for them to be there to work. So yeah, it does cost more, but it's not because they're selfish. They're barely getting by. So on the occasions that you do need to spend money, always try to spend it locally first, even if you pay a little more. Support your local businesses. Support your friends and your neighbors by keeping your money in your community. Doing a 30-day challenge has had a lasting impact on me. I have a deeper understanding of myself. I gained insights into my values, my priorities, and my view on the world. And I discovered a new self-awareness and reliance. Doing a 30-day challenge can cause a shift in your perspective. You'll develop a newfound appreciation for the simpler things and a realization that happiness isn't tied to purchasing or to material possessions. And cultivating a more mindful approach to life will just make you happier. So what about you? Have you ever done a no-spend challenge? Is your budget out of control? Do you want to save money while all the prices around you are going up? Maybe now is the time to try your hand at a no-spend month. I can tell you this, it won't be easy, but it will be meaningful. And at the end of the challenge, you will have more money, a greater sense of well-being, and a deeper appreciation for all that you have. And if you want to know more about how you can save $10,000 in less than a year, you can watch this video right here. And until next time, carry on.